Am I wrong about that?
This time we reduced takes 52 through 48 and 47 into evidence.
Says the defense.
No objection.
Get it.
And I don't have an objection to either, and number, whatever that is.
Your Honor, we will seals takes exhibit 50 due to its graphic nature, and prepare that placeholder.
No objection. Under those circumstances.
Admit it.
Agent Worley, this takes exhibit 47. If you could kind of describe that to the jury.
That's a photo showing Maggie's body lying on the ground with the sheriff's office canopy over her, looking toward the overhang for the workshop, and you can see the kennels off to the right.
Okay. And these pictures are kind of hard to see on the screen. Is Paul's body also in that shot?
You can sort of see the pink sheet that's over him, yes.
Like over in front of the feed room door?
Right.
And then Maggie's is in front of this ATV.
Yes, that's right.
And State's Exhibit 48.
That's looking from a different angle of Maggie, the doghouse in the background, the workshop overhang, and the ATVs to the right.
And then State's Exhibit 52.
That was after Maggie's body was removed from the area.
This is State's 50 submitted under seal.
Different angle of Maggie's body, I believe still covered by the pink sheet.
When you observed Maggie's body, where was she actually, what wounds did you observe?
She was lying face down, her both arms bent at the elbow, her right arm was bent toward her face, her left arm was bent underneath her body, her legs were straight out behind her.
This time I'll publish State Defendant's Exhibit 2, which is under seal. Is that how her body appeared to be on the scene?
Yes, that is.
Now, when the body was moved, did you notice anything?
We located another cartridge case on the ground, approximately where her right knee had been.
So she was laying on top of a shell case.
That's right.
All right. And did you collect that item?
Yes, we marked it as marker 7, photographed it, and collected it.
what, do you recall what kind of round that was?
It was a 300 blackout.
Mr. Worley, I'm gonna ask you to take a look at this baggie, and if you can, remove item 7.
No objection, Your Honor.
Agent for release takes exhibit 68, item 7, the 300 blackout recovered under the knee of Maggie Murdaugh. How do you know that is that?
This my handwriting on the envelope, date, time, and initials when I collected it. My initials and the date on the seal tape.
And I'm going to show, this time I would move Tate's exhibit 68 into evidence.
Submitted without objection.
I'm going to show you Tate's exhibit 61. Do you recognize that picture?
Yes,
And is that a, what is that a picture of?
it is item 7 cartridge case located at marker 7 before we collected it.
Okay. Is that a true and accurate depiction of that casing at the crime scene?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 61 into evidence.
See, have you, is that what you just showed me? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. No objection.
Submitted.
And this is the shell casing here, shell case.
Yes, it is.
And this is a picture of it is located at the crime scene, correct?
That's right.
Now, did you collect some other shell cases while you were out there?
Yes, we did.
And if we're looking in some of these pictures, you see the little yellow placards there. I don't know if we can see them that well on the screen here. What do each of those placards indicate?
Those are the evidence markers that the sheriff's office placed on cartridge cases that were on scene. Markers 3, 4, and 5 were all the same 300 blackout cartridge cases.
So, how many blackout cases did we recover from the scene?
Let's see. I believe it was 5.
And did you collect the cases that were at the scene?
Yes, I did.
And that would be items 2 through 6?
2 through 7, yes.
2 through 7. And we already have item 7 up there. So do you have items
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 there?
Two, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
And what are items 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6?
They are all cartridge cases, head stamped SNB 300 AAC BLK, collected from markers 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
And in this case, does the item number correspond with the case with where the marker was?
It does, yes.
And can you take a look at these pictures? That's going to be State's Exhibit 60, 62, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, and 54, and also 53. And can you tell us in general what we see in those pictures?
These photos show each of those markers 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and before we collected the evidence. And also marker 13.
And are those true and accurate depictions of where 300 blackout shell cases were on the scene?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I would offer State's Exhibits 62, 60, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, and 53 into evidence.
Show them to the defense.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are those the ones that you saw? No objection.
They're admitted without objection.
Shell cases that were collected, did you collect them and put them in these little envelopes?
Yes, I did.
No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
Agent Worley, I'm going to get you to take a look at these cases one more time. This being now marked as State's Exhibit 63. You could tell the jury what that is.
This is a cartridge case, 300 blackout from marker 2.
And how do you know this is the 300 blackout cartridge case that you collected from marker 2?
It's my handwriting on the envelope, date, time, and initials when I collected it, and my initials on the seal.
What about for Tate's 64?
The 300 blackout cartridge case that I collected from marker 3, it's my handwriting on the envelope, date, time, and initials when I collected it, and my initials on the seal.
Tate's Exhibit 65?
Cartridge case collected from marker 4, 300 blackout, has my handwriting with the date, time, and initials when I collected it, and the initials, my initials on the seal.
66?
It's the 300 blackout cartridge case from marker 5. It's my handwriting, my date, time, and initials, and my initials on the seal.
And then Tate's 67.
The 300 blackout cartridge case from marker 6. It's my handwriting on the envelope with the date, time, and initials when I collected it, my initials on the seal.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move Tate's 63 through 67 into evidence.
They're admitted.
And Agent Worley, what did you do with these cases once they were collected on the scene?
I sealed them in those coin envelopes that are in there with them. I transported them to the lab at SLED.
And when you got them to the lab at SLED, what did you do?
I transferred most of the evidence from the scene to one of the crime scene lieutenants, Lieutenant Todd Shank.
And does he take those items and put them in some sort of secure location, or what happens to them?
He would have logged them into our database and transferred them wherever they were going in the lab for analysis.
Right, I'm going to turn your attention now to what's previously been admitted. It's Tate's Exhibit 49, which I believe is admitted under seal. Now, if we take a look at this picture, you can see those yellow placards. Placard 2, I believe, would correspond with item 2, which has been marked as Tate 63.
Yes, that's right.
And Tate's Exhibit 53 here. What are we looking at here?
That's that cartridge case at marker 2 before we collected it.
And Tate's Exhibit 54.
That's a close-up of the same cartridge case at marker 2.
Oops, where's that page? Okay, so marker 2. All right, then we'll move to Tate's Exhibit 55.
So, markers 3 and 4, the cartridge cases at those markers before I collected them.
Okay, and I don't know if the jury can see those cases there. Agent Worley, Your Honor, may I have permission for Agent Worley to step down and point those 2 cases out to the jurors on this TV here?
Yes.
Right here is the one at marker 3, and then the one at marker 4 right here.
Okay, and while you're here, Agent Worley, we'll put up Tate's Exhibit 58. And in that picture, if you could point out any items of interest for us.
These are the cartridge cases at markers 5 and 6.
And
Not sure if I can see the one at 5. The one at marker 6 is right here.
okay. And Tate's Exhibit 59 is a close-up there of
Yes, this is the cartridge case at marker 5.
All right, Agent Corley, if you can take your seat, please. Thank you. Okay. State's Exhibit 66.
Yes.
And then let's go back here to State's Exhibit 58. Also in that picture, does it look like we might have some brain matter and some hair in that picture?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 56.
It's the cartridge case at marker 3 before I collected it.
And then State's Exhibit 64 is the actual shell case that was collected.
That's right.
State's Exhibit 57.
That's the cartridge case at marker 4 before I collected it.
And State's Exhibit 65.
Yes,
So that's the actual case that was collected.
it is.
And then finally here, we have State's Exhibit 60.
That's the cartridge case at marker 6 before I collected it.
And white is also in that picture.
It's possible brain matter.
And State's Exhibit 67.
Yes, that's the same cartridge case.
That's the cartridge case that was collected.
Right.
Now, also, was there some kind of defect or something in the gravel that y'all inspected?
Yes, at marker 13 that the sheriff's office had placed, there was a disturbance in the gravel area that we dug into that area. We presumed it was a bullet strike where a bullet had hit, so we dug into that area.
And did you find anything when you were looking?
Yes, we found several metal fragments.
And Agent Worley, what did you just remove from this baggie from the crime lab?
These are the metal fragments that I collected from in the ground at marker 13.
And how do you know those are the metal fragments you collected?
They look familiar. It's my handwriting on the envelope, date, time, and initials when I collected it, and my initials on the seal.
Thank you. Agent Worley, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 62. Do you recognize that picture?
I do.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of bullet fragments at the crime scene?
It is, yes.
Your Honor, at this time I would move State's Exhibit 62 into evidence.
Okay.
You admit it?
And also for ID purposes only, State's Exhibit 102, the bullet fragments.
Okay.
It's admitted for ID only.
And Agent Worley, State's Exhibit 62. If you could tell the jury what is on that placard there.
Those are the metal fragments that we collected from the ground at marker 13.
All right, so what else did you see around Maggie's body while you were investigating the scene?
There was in the doghouse, the side that was facing her, there was appeared to be a bullet defect in the side of the doghouse.
Okay. Was there an ATV parked under that shed?
Yes, there were two.
Did you notice anything about the ATV?
There's appeared to be suspected biological material on the front of the ATV, sort of low down on the front of it.
And where was that ATV in relation to Maggie's body?
I believe it was off near her left side.
I showed you State's Exhibit 49. Would that be the ATV?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. And on the front of that on the ATV, there appeared to be tissues, you said?
Yes.
All right, now you mentioned the doghouse. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 75, 74, and 73. How do you recognize those pictures?
These show the front of the doghouse and then a projectile that we collected from a dog bed that was inside the doghouse.
Are those true and accurate depictions?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time I would move State's Exhibit 75, 74, and 73 into evidence.
72, no objection.
Along with Exhibit 72.
You're all admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, Agent Worley, State's Exhibit 72. If you could tell the jury where that doghouse you were talking about is that in that picture?
It is. It's more in the background of that picture.
And again, these pictures are kind of hard to see here. It would be in this area right here that I'm pointing to?
Yes, that's it.
And State's Exhibit 73. What is that?
That's the front of the doghouse.
Okay, then State's Exhibits 74.
That was the projectile that was in the bedding of that dog bed that we recovered.
And then State's Exhibit 75.
And that is the projectile that we collected from the dog bed.
maybe in this baggie you have here.
Yes.
Is that item 12?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how do you know item 12 is that projectile?
It's my handwriting on the envelope, date, time, and initials when I collected it, and my initials on the seal.
Okay. Do you know anything else about that projectile besides that it's the one that you collected from the doghouse?
No.
Your Honor, the state would move the item number 12, State's Exhibit 76, into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted.
And Agent Worley, this would be State's Exhibit 76.
Yes, that's
the
it.
round collected from the doghouse.
That's right.
All right, now, after you had went out to the crime scene, did you make a diagram to kind of, piece together the evidence where you could see everything and how it kind of relates to each other?
I did. On scene, I do a rough sketch showing where evidence was located, where the victims were located. I take measurements to show where things are in relation to each other.
And when you made that diagram, is it to any kind of scale?
No.
Your Honor, this time the state would move State's Exhibit 77 into evidence.
No objection.
Submitted.
Permission to publish. Hey, Agent Worley, is this the diagram that you created after being out there on the crime scene?
That's the final diagram I created with a computer, yes.
Your Honor, may Agent Worley step down to kind of go through the diagram with the jurors? Thank you. All right, Agent Worley, if you could just kind of walk the jurors through the crime scene using this diagram here.
We have Maggie's body here, Paul, just outside of the feed room.
You have to
Markers,
speak up a little bit.
marker 1 and markers 9 and 10 inside the feed room. And then we had markers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 underneath her right knee. 8 tire impressions in the dirt underneath this overhang. Marker 12 was suspected biological material. And then marker 13 where we dug the metal fragments out of the gravel.
Okay, thank you, Agent Worley. Now, you just mentioned some tire impressions being here at item 8. What do you know about those?
They went straight through where the overhang was, went from one end to the other.
Did you do any kind of analysis on those tire impressions?
We photographed them with examination quality photographs on scene. I never had any, test impressions of any tires to compare them to do actual comparison in a report, no.
And why was that? Why didn't you do any analysis on the tire impressions?
We concluded basically the gentleman who took care of the dogs, I forget his name, He parked there regularly, and his tires were consistent with the design of the impressions that were there in the dirt.
Okay, so you essentially, they figured out who the tire impressions were.
Right.
And it wasn't necessary for you to do any analysis there.
Yes.
Were you aware of any other tire impressions on the scene that you analyzed?
No.
As far as tire impressions in wet grass go, how would you analyze those?
All I would be able to do with that would be photograph it. That's not going to leave any kind of design characteristics from the tread of the tire in the grass. So I can't really do an analysis, a tire analysis of tire impressions like that.
All right, while you were on the scene, did you receive any items of evidence from Colleton County Sheriff's Office, Murdaugh?
Yes, I did.
And what was that item?
I took custody of a GSR kit, a gunshot residue kit that was collected from Alex Murdaugh.
Your Honor, at this time we would move to the next text exhibit 13, the GSR kit that Agent Worley collected from Colleton County Sheriff's Office, Murdaugh.
No objection.
Admit it.
Okay. Also, in the course of your investigation, did you gather some items of evidence from SLED agent Katie McAllister?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and when did you collect those items from her?
On June 9th.
Okay. And what were those items?
Can I refer to my notes? I took custody of 3 shotguns, a rifle, fired and unfired ammunition, and empty boxes of ammunition.
And what did you do with those items when you took custody of them?
I transported them to the lab at SLED and submitted them to the lab.
And all of this would, of course, be recorded on a chain of custody sheet.
That's right, yes.
All right, moving on. All right, Agent Worley, before we move on, the shotguns you collected, would those have been items 30, 31, 32, 33?
Yes.
Okay, and then you collected item 34, which was a 30-round magazine containing 300 blackout cartridges.
Actually, 33 was the night vision scope on the rifle,
Okay,
and 34 was the rifle.
okay. All right, and then what other items did you collect? With the numbers, please.
Okay. Items 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39, 5 cartridge cases, head stamped S&B 300 AAC BLK that were collected from the ground at side entrance door.
And then you collect item 40 from Katie McAllister?
Yes.
Okay, and what was item 40?
That was an unfired cartridge, head stamped S&B 300 AAC BLK, collected from a Remington 20 gauge shotgun shell box from shelving near gun storage rack.
And then item 45?
45 was an empty 20-round box of S&B 300 AAC BLK full metal jacket ammunition collected from the gun storage room.
And then, items 46, 47, and 48.
Those were 3 empty ammunition boxes collected from the trash.
And then, I'm sorry, what did you say that you did once you received those items from Agent McAllister?
I transported those to the lab at SLED and submitted them to the lab.
Okay. Did you test fire or do anything with any of that evidence that you collected?
No, I didn't do any of that.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the Chevy Suburban that was on scene the night of the murders. Did you observe that vehicle when you got to the scene?
I did.
Okay.
So I'll stand for a moment.
Still wanting to do that one? Are you still wanting to do that one?
Dr. Judy, what is the problem with the projector? Blurry?
Your Honor, With the overhead light on the L and out, I think we'll be able to see better. Without that light on, there was a shadow, it was difficult to see.
All right, thank you.
I think over the weekend, we're gonna go like flood so that the lights go down.
May it please the court, Your Honor? Okay, Agent Worley, if you don't mind taking a look at State's Exhibits 104, 96, 97, 99, and 93. Okay. Or Exhibits 93, 99, 97, and 96, true and accurate depictions of the Chevy Suburban.
Yes, they are.
And State's 104, is that a true and accurate depiction of some ammunition that you located?
In the other vehicle, yes.
That was located in a white F-250?
That's right.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move State's Exhibits 104, 96, 97, 99, and 93 into evidence. We would also, State's Exhibit 95 for ID purposes. Agent Worley, if you could open that up and tell us what kind of shell casing or shotgun or shot shell is that item 50?
Can I get scissors?
What happened to our scissors? Did you have any?
I think they're gone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need some gloves or are you okay?
That's good.
Okay, so what is State's marked for ID is State's Exhibit 95,
It's a 16 gauge shot shell, unfired.
a 16 gauge shot shell.
That's right.
Okay. Now, I think when it was collected, it was marked as a 12 gauge shot shell.
That's right.
So what happened there?
I just made a mistake. I wrote 12 gauge instead of 16 gauge. It's clearly a 16 gauge.
Okay, and that is the shot shell that was collected from the floorboard of the Chevy, the back floorboard of the Chevy Suburban.
That's right.
Okay, and like you said, it is a 16 gauge instead of a 12 gauge,
That's right.
and it was just marked incorrectly.
Yes.
At this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 95 into evidence.
No objection.
As
Submitted
well,
without objection.
thank you, Your Honor. The state would also move State's Exhibits 83 into evidence. And if Agent
It's admitted.
Agent Worley, if you could take a look at State's Exhibit 83. And we'll stand down. you could tell the jurors what's in State's Exhibit 93.
That's looking at the scene, the back of the Chevy Suburban there toward the right side.
And what side of the screen did you say the Suburban's on?
The right side.
And the Suburban was on the scene when you arrived, is that right?
Yes.
Now, when did you actually process that vehicle?
The vehicle was towed from the scene the morning of the 8th, and then we returned on the 9th to process the vehicle.
Okay. So on the scene that night, was that vehicle even searched to your knowledge?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. And so, when you went to search it, what did you do?
We document it with photographs outside, inside, search for any evidentiary value items. If we locate them, we photograph them and collect them.
Okay. And what did you locate in the rear floorboard of that vehicle?
The 16 gauge shot shell was on the rear driver's side floorboard of the Suburban.
And that would be State's Exhibit 97
Yes, that's right.
and 96.
Yes.
Did you also process the vehicle to see if there was any blood in there?
We did.
Okay, and how did you do that?
We first looked at the vehicle with an alternate light source, see if we can see any indications of any blood in the vehicle. We followed that with a couple of different chemical procedures.
So did you swab some areas in that vehicle?
We did.
Okay. And what areas was that?
If I can refer to my notes again. There were 10 areas total. It was the lock, unlock buttons on the driver's door armrest, the driver's side running board below the driver's door, the driver's floorboard, the front edge of the driver's seat, steering wheel, center of the driver's seat back, the front passenger door above the armrest, the front passenger seat bottom, and the front passenger seat back.
And State's Exhibit 83 is the actual swabs that you took from that vehicle.
Yes, those are.
And were those swabs presumptive for blood?
Yes, they were.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Were those swabs presumptive for blood?
Yes, they were.
And State's Exhibit 99 is where?
That's the steering wheel of the Suburban.
Later on, what did you do with those swabs that you collected?
I packaged them in separate envelopes, sealed the envelopes, labeled it with the description of what was inside the envelope, date, time, and initials of when I collected it, and I sealed it. And then we transferred them to the lab at SLED.
And would you have submitted those to the lab for further analysis for blood?
Yes, that's right.
Later on, did you have another occasion to go back and process the Suburban?
I did, yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I returned at a later date to retrieve the seat belt from the driver's side of the vehicle.
Okay. And why did you want to retrieve the seat belt?
For additional trace and DNA testing.
Okay. And when you retrieved that seat belt, what did you do with it?
It was removed from the vehicle, included the strap, the buckle, the receiver, and then there were some hardware components that we couldn't separate from the seatbelt itself. I packaged it, I believe, in a paper bag to transport it back to the lab at SLED. It would have been packaged additionally inside of a box at the lab and submitted for testing.
So you removed the whole entire seat belt?
Yes.
Agent Worley takes exhibit 100, which is a little heavier than you would think for a seatbelt here. Can you tell us if that is the seatbelt you collected?
You want me to open it?
Yes.
Get down, be seated.
May bring the jury.
The jury is present.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, before we left off with that seat belt. Were you able to open it up so we can show the jury? Okay, so if you could tell us, what we have there.
The entire seat belt, the strap, the receiver, the buckle.
Kind of stretch it out.
Where it was mounted on the side of the vehicle.
Okay, so that was all removed and submitted to the lab for testing, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Your Honor, this case removes case exhibit 100 into evidence.
Your Honor, I thought we agreed to mark these for ID until the person that did any analysis on it testifies. Did I?
Smart identification at this time.
And if you'll turn your attention to the screen there, when you can set that seatbelt down. Y'all also, in addition to doing a search on the Chevy Suburban, you did a search on the white 250 truck, is that right?
That's right, yes.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 104. Were those 300 blackouts found in the truck?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember where you collected those from?
I believe the center console.
And State's Exhibit 103. You could tell us, is that the 300 blackouts that we're seeing on the screen there that were collected?
Yes.
And how do you know those are the blackouts you collected?
It's my handwriting on the box with the date and time and initials when I collected it. My initials on the seal tape on the box.
Your Honor, this tape removes Tate's Exhibit 103 into evidence.
I'm sorry, which,
It's the 300 blackouts that were found in the white F-250 that are projected on the screen.
that's the white 250 Paul's truck left on the side of the road?
Yes.
Okay, no objection.
They're admitted.
Did y'all also process another vehicle, Maggie Murdaugh's Mercedes?
Yes, we did.
Were any items of evidentiary value collected from that vehicle?
The only items we collected are 2 sets of swabs from the interior and 2 sets of swabs from the exterior door releases of the driver's door.
Did you attend the autopsies of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh?
I did.
Okay. And did you collect any items during the autopsy?
I did.
And what were those?
I can refer to my notes. They were items that were collected during the autopsy that were transferred to me via chain of custody forms.
Okay.
From Maggie, I got clothes, fingernail clippings, projectile fragments.
Okay.
And from Paul, I also got his clothes, fingernail clippings, shotgun pellets, and wadding fragment from left shoulder and head, plastic wadding from left axilla or armpit.
And when you collected those items, what did you do with them?
I transported them to the lab at SLED and submitted them to the lab for analysis.
Agent Worley, I'm going to show you items 66 through 69. Marks takes exhibits 112, 111, 110, and 107. Are those items you collected from the autopsy?
Yes, items I took custody of at autopsy.
And what items are those?
The shotgun pellets and wadding fragment from left shoulder and head. The plastic wadding from left axilla.
Would it help you to open that bag up?
And the projectile fragments from Maggie.
Okay, so if we'll take those items out one by one. Okay, so what is that item there?
This is item 66. Sorry. Yeah, 66.
Okay, and what is that actually?
That is the projectile fragments that were collected from Maggie at autopsy.
Okay, and how do you know that?
That's how it's labeled.
Okay. We'll mark item 66 as Tate's Exhibit 112. Okay, what else do we have?
The item 69, plastic wadding from left axilla collected from Paul's autopsy.
Okay. We'll mark that item as Tate's Exhibit 111. Okay.
And then I also have the item 6768, shotgun pellets and wadding fragment from left shoulder and head collected from Paul's autopsy.
This takes exhibit 110 for the shotgun pellets from Paul's autopsy. Okay. Is there anything else in that bag?
There are 2 in this.
Pardon me?
It's labeled with 67 and 68, the pellets and the wadding fragment.
Okay, so the pellets and the wadding fragment are both state's exhibit 110 from Paul Murdaugh, correct?
Sure.
Okay. And what else did you collect here? We got items 70 and 71.
$70 is the left-hand fingernail clippings from Maggie. 71 is the right-hand fingernail clippings from Maggie.
Okay. And those are marked as State's Exhibit 251. Then what is that item?
This is a metal fragment that was collected. It was caught on the dress that I collected from Maggie's autopsy. I collected this metal fragment at the lab at SLED.
So you removed that metal fragment from the dress after the autopsy yourself?
Right.
We'll mark that as State's Exhibit 109.
And you continue to block the view of the 2 drawers.
I apologize, Your Honor. Sorry.
Item 72 is the left-hand fingernail clippings from Paul's autopsy, and 73 is the right-hand fingernail clippings from Paul's autopsy.
Mark as State's Exhibit 252. Then State's Exhibit 113. What does that appear to be?
This was a shotgun pellet that I found among Paul's clothing once I got the evidence back to the lab.
Thank you. And finally, we have State's Exhibit 36.
This is Paul's shoes. You want me to open?
You can open. Go ahead. those are the shoes that you did the inked impressions of, the footwear, to compare to those bloody prints in the feed room?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, the state would admit takes exhibits 36, 113, 252, 109, 251, 107, 110, 112, and 111 into evidence.
Identification, but without the chain being completed, we would object to admitting them into evidence.
Which of those exhibits did not have any type of analysis done?
You know, I suspect they all did, but I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor, I believe they were all analyzed in some way.
Okay, mark for identification.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Agent Worley. Also in this case, we just talked about Paul and Maggie's clothing. Did you analyze the defendant's clothing?
I did.
Okay. And I think we said earlier that his clothing was collected from Agent David Owen,
Yes.
and you received that clothing into your custody and submitted it into the SLED lab.
That's right. I took custody of the clothing before we left the scene.
So what kind of testing were you involved in regards to the defendant's clothing?
We processed the T-shirt and the shorts with LCV. It's a presumptive test for blood.
Okay. Now, what is LCV?
Leucocrystal violet is a presumptive test. Looks for hemoglobin component of blood.
So what happens when you put it on something?
If it's reacting to the presence of blood, it's a presumptive positive test, and it'll turn purple.
Can LCV react to other things besides blood?
It can.
Like what?
Bleach, rust, I think are the main ones.
Okay. All right. So when you process the defendant's clothing with the LCV, what did you find?
There were several areas of staining that we had a presumptive positive result, several on the front and a few on the back of the T-shirt.
And what about the shorts?
In the shorts, there were a few on the front and back.
So when you got that presumptive test with the LCV, what did you do with the shirt then?
We documented the entire process with photographs, starting from taking it out of the package to before we did anything at all with it. We took photographs of the front, the back, inside and outside. Once we sprayed it with the LCV and saw all the stains that we saw on it, we rephotographed it again with a scale, without a scale first, then with a scale for each stain. Then we laid the shirt flat and labeled each of the stains with a letter and photographed it again with that letter and a scale in the photograph for each of the stains.
And you did that for the shirt and for the pants?
Yes.
Okay. And as far as your analysis goes, after the shirt was processed and shorts were processed with the LCV, did you do any further analysis?
No, I did not.
Okay. And now after something has been sprayed with LCV, what happens to that object?
Over time, any area of the object that came in contact with the LCV will oxidize and the entire thing will be purple.
Okay. So like right now, if you sprayed this paper with LCV and it didn't turn like purplish blue. Would it eventually turn purplish blue even though there's no blood on this paper?
Yes.
All right. Let's move ahead to the search of Moselle. Was that property eventually searched by yourself and other agents?
It was
And when did that occur?
September 13th, 2021.
And that was several months after the murders took place in June?
That's right.
Okay. And what parts of the area or the residence were searched?
We searched the entire residence. The main focus was the gun room on the first floor.
Okay, so could you kind of, I guess, describe the property and the areas that were searched?
There's the main residence, and then also there was a cabin closer to the kennels that faced Moselle Road, and then also the workshop that was located near the kennels.
Okay. And is the residence a fairly large residence?
It is.
And you searched the entire residence?
Yes.
And you mentioned the focus was on a gun room.
Yes.
Where was that located in the residence?
It's on the first floor.
Did you find any items of interest in the gun room when you searched it?
We did collect several items from the gun room.
Was the workshop area of the residence searched out near the kennels?
Yes, near the kennels, yes.
Agent Worley, I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 124, 123, 122, 121, 120, 119, 118, 117, and 116. Could you tell me if those are pictures taken during y'all's search that day?
Yes.
Are those true and accurate depictions of the search of the residence of Moselle and the workshop area?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I would offer State's Exhibits 124, 123, 122, 121, 120, 119, 118, 117, and 116 into evidence.
As a defense. No objection, Your Honor. They're admitted.
Agent Worley, is State's Exhibit 116 a picture of the gun room there?
Yes, it is.
And State's Exhibit 117,
Yes.
it appears to have a pool table and a little workout bike in there.
That's right.
And do you recall whether this door in the picture exits to the outside of the house?
Yes, it does.
States 118, is that the gun rack in that room?
Yes, it is.
Now, when y'all did the search in September, were any of those guns collected that day?
No.
So these are additional guns to the guns that had already been collected by SLED agents.
That's right.
Was there a lot of ammunition in that room?
There was.
Okay, about States 119. Is that a box of ammunition?
Yes, it is.
Mixed ammunition?
Right.
In fact, was there, this whole bookcase we're looking at over here, Was that just full of ammunition,
Yes,
an ammunition bookcase?
yes.
This takes exhibit 120.
That was also on that bookshelf.
Takes exhibit 121.
Yes,
That is 300 blackout ammunition from this box
that's right.
on the bookcase.
Yes.
And was some of this ammunition collected?
It was.
And you said you also searched the work shed or hangar out near the kennels?
Yes.
This takes exhibit 122. Is that ammunition that was found in the workshop?
Yes, it was in that red bin on the workbench.
Okay. And we see ammunition in a little, like a wire tub, and then in this tray.
Yes.
Specifically in exhibit 123, what types of ammunition was some of the ammunition that was located?
It was one unfired cartridge head stamped Barnes 300 BLK. It's the one on the left. And then the 4 unfired shot shells, head stamped 12 gauge Federal.
And item 124.
And those were the boxes of 300 blackout ammunition photograph.
And you say y'all collected some of those for evidence purposes?
Not at this one. No.
But some of the ammunition that y'all found was collected for evidence purposes, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you for this indulgence, Your Honor.
Stand again while we're in indulgence. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Agent Farley, if you could take a look at these items and tell us whether these were collected by you that day. If this was some of that ammunition we were just speaking about?
Want me to open that? Yes, these were all collected the day we did that search.
Okay, and where were they collected from?
From the desk in the living room was the cabin that faced Moselle Road. One cartridge from the Winchester box on the bookshelf in the gun room, head stamp Barnes 300 BLK. One cartridge collected from the desk in the living room of the cabin. One cartridge head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK from the desk in the living room of the cabin. One cartridge collected from the desk in the living room, head stamped Barnes 300 BLK. One cartridge from the desk in the living room, head stamped Hornady 300 BLK in the cabin. One cartridge collected from the Winchester box on bookshelf in gun room, head stamped S&B 300 AAC BLK. One cartridge from Winchester box on bookshelf in gun room, head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK. One cartridge head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK from the bookcase in the gun room. One cartridge from the Winchester box on bookshelf in gun room, head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK. One cartridge from the Winchester box on the bookshelf in the gun room, head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK. One cartridge from the Winchester box on bookshelf in gun room, head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK. One cartridge from the Winchester box on the bookshelf in the gun room, head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK. And one cartridge case, head stamped S&B AAC 300 BLK from the bookcase in the gun room.
And all of those items, items 147 through 161, which would be states 128, 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, 139, 138, 137, 136, 135, 134, 140, 141, and 142. State will move into evidence at this time.
Yes, and without objection.
All right, and we have some additional cases that were found.
One unfired shot shell from a state box on bookshelf in gun room, head stamped Winchester 12 gauge.
That will be states 149,
One unfired shot shell, head stamped 12 gauge Federal from red bin on workshop bench.
states 150,
one unfired shot shell, head stamped 12 gauge Federal from the red bin on the workshop bench.
That'll be states 148.
One unfired shot shell from nightstand in Paul's bedroom, head stamped Winchester 12 gauge.
States 147.
One unfired shot shell from Kent box on bookshelf in gunroom, head stamped Winchester 12 gauge.
That'll be 146.
One unfired shot shell from the state box on bookshelf in gunroom, head stamped Winchester 12 gauge.
That's 145.
One unfired shot shell, head stamped 12 gauge Federal from the red bin on the workshop bench.
That will be states 144.
And another unfired shot shell, head stamped 12 gauge Federal from the red bin on the workshop bench.
That would be states 143. Your Honor, the state will move these items, exhibits into evidence at this time.
Any objection? No objection. You're admitted without objection.
What else do we have there, Agent Worley?
One cartridge case, head stamped S&B 300 BLK from the sable and oak bag in the gunroom.
So this states 126 is from the gunroom. Okay.
One cartridge case, head stamped Hornady 300 BLK collected from black Ford F-150 under the driver's seat.
Would be states 127. The state would move states 126 and 127 into evidence. States exhibit 126, 300 S&B 300 blackout, and 127 is a Hornaday 300 blackout. States exhibit 127 is from the black Ford F-150 under the driver's seat from a search on, I'll let Agent Worley testify here.
That same search that day.
But that would be not Paul's car, not Alice's car. I don't quite understand. Your Honor, I object on the basis of relevance. I don't know why a bullet from nobody's car that's involved in this would be relevant.
You're admitted over objection.
Thank you.
This is
Okay, what other exhibits do we have there?
These are magazines containing ammunition. One of them contains 300 blackout ammunition collected from the shelf in the gunroom. And then the other one is a magazine containing cartridges, 300 blackout cartridges collected from the black Ford F-150.
Okay, so this item's collected from the black F-150. That truck was searched that day too?
There, it was, yes.
And where was that truck at?
If I remember correctly, it was in front of the residence.
It was a truck that was on the property?
Yes, it was on the property.
Was it on the property the night of the murders?
It might have been the one that was parked off away from the workshop.
Do you know why that truck was searched that day?
It was on the property, and the search warrant included vehicles.
Okay. And those items were found inside that vehicle?
Yes, one of these was.
Okay. And what is the other one?
That's from the shelf in the gunroom. one from the gun room.
Let's, one from the gun room.
It's this one.
Okay, so State's Exhibit 152, what did you say that was?
It's a magazine containing 300 blackout ammunition collected from the shelf in the gun room.
State would move State's 152 into evidence.
Admitted.
And then we had State's 258, what was that?
Cartridge collected from the workshop bench, head stamped Barnes 300 BLK.
Did you collect any other items that day when the property was searched?
I don't believe so.
All right, let's go back a little bit in your testimony when you were referring to the 300 blackout that you collected from Agent McAllister. If you wouldn't mind looking back at your notes. I believe you testified that that was item 34, but that was actually item 33 is the Palmetto State Armory PSA PA-15 multi-rifle with a night scope.
Yes.
That is item 33, the gun.
I have that the night vision scope was 33.
I believe if you'll look closely, you'll see where the gun with the night
Okay,
vision scope.
yeah, it's the gun with the scope on it, yes.
Is that correct?
That's right.
The gun with the night vision scope being item 33.
Right.
And then, to clarify, item 34 would be the one 30-round magazine containing the multiple S&B 300 blackout cartridges. Is that right?
Right. It was separated from the gun when I took custody of it, so I logged them in as separate items.
All right, but you did collect those from Catering House.
That's right.
All right, and then also, going back to the scene, you mentioned a projectile that was found near a tire impression.
Yes. We were setting up to take examination quality photographs of the tire impressions at marker 8. We located another fired projectile that was lying on the ground.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 250. If you'll take a look at that, could you tell us what that is?
And this is that projectile near the tire impression.
Your Honor, the state would move State's Exhibit 250 into evidence.
Admitted without objection.
Your Honor, I believe that is finally all we have for, excuse me, Your Honor. Okay. Agent Whirling, I'll have you take a look at, mark this as State's Exhibit. You recall collecting the shotgun from Officer Green
Yes.
or Sergeant Green? When you collected that gun, did you swab it?
I did.
I'm going to hand you State's Exhibit 259. If you could tell us what that exhibit is.
I took 2 swabs of suspected blood from the side of the shotgun and 2 swabs from the muzzle end of the barrel of the shotgun. That was as a precaution when I was unloading the weapon. The 16 gauge shot shell got lodged in the barrel, and before I placed one of my own dowel rods down the barrel to push it back out, I swabbed the muzzle of the barrel just in case.
You swabbed it just in case what?
I didn't want to contaminate any, if there was potential evidence in the barrel or in the muzzle end of the barrel before I placed my dowel rod in that end of the barrel.
And the other swab, did it appear there was visible blood on that gun?
Yes, suspected blood, yes.
Okay. And what did you do with those swabs once they were collected?
I packaged them in their envelopes, sealed them, and transported them to the lab.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move State's Exhibit 259 into evidence.
Been ready.
Court's indulgence, Your Honor.
to council. 9:30 Monday morning, yes.